You have more sympathy for criminals than victims, don't you? Embarrassed to answer my question, aren't you?
Welcome to Congress Unpacked, where we bring you the moments, the clashes, and the truths the headlines leave behind. Let's dive in. Today's Senate Judiciary hearing wasn't just another round of confirmation questions. It was a raw debate about what justice truly means. It all started when Senator Kennedy put Miss Campbell on the spot, accusing her of hiding her connection to a group called Workers' Dignity. The proof? A photo from their own website. Campbell admitted she'd volunteered there in the past, but the exchange set the tone. This wasn't going to be easy.
Ms. Campbell, you lied to Senator Grassley, didn't you?
No, Senator.
You told Senator Grassley that you've never represented Workers' Dignity, didn't you?
That is correct, Senator.
That's not true, is it?
Senator, I have never represented that organization.
Yes, ma'am. That's not true, is it?
Senator, it is true. I served for a period of 2 or 3 years, more than a decade ago, on an advisory board to help them set up as a nonprofit.
In fact, you were so supportive of Workers' Dignity that not only did you represent them, you didn't charge them a fee. Isn't that correct?
Senator, when I was on their advisory board more than a decade ago, I did volunteer my time.
Right. You know what this is? Do you recognize that picture?
No, Senator.
This is from Workers' Dignity's website. There you are, right here. It's got your name. Wow.
Then the spotlight turned to Judge Lipez. Senator Kennedy asked the kind of question that stops you cold. Do you have more sympathy for the criminal than the victim? Judge Lipez pushed back, pointing to her time as a prosecutor, her track record, her support for victims.
Judge Lipez, you have more sympathy for the criminal than the victim, don't you?
Senator, I worked on behalf of victims of crime zealously as a prosecutor. As a judge, I listened carefully to understand impact on victims, and I have always take that into account.
But Senator Kennedy dug deeper, bringing up the Micah Smith case, convicted of abusing 2 children, given a 12-year sentence, half of it suspended. Senator Kennedy even quoted Judge Lipez's own words, where she called Smith's actions tragic, but also mentioned there was good in him. For some, that sounded way too forgiving. Judge Lipez stood her ground, saying her sentence matched the prosecutor's recommendation.
You know Micah Smith?
Michael Smith, Senator?
Micah, M-I-C-H.
I don't believe I know a Micah Smith, Senator, no.
Okay. I bet the victims of Micah Smith remember Micah Smith. If you don't.
Senator, there was a defendant I sentenced named Michael Smith.
Mr. Smith molested a 4-year-old girl, didn't he?
Senator, he was convicted after trial of unlawful sexual contact under Maine law.
That's a nice way of putting it.
That was the charge, Senator.
Right. Mr. Smith molested a 9-year-old girl, didn't he?
Senator, again, he was convicted of unlawful sexual contact against 2 children. In that case, I did impose the sentence the state requested.
At oral argument, this is how Mr. Smith's conduct was described. Quote, you heard this testimony. All of the abuse is done in the same fashion. Smith would rub his fingers in a circular motion on the vagina of each child, and he did so repeatedly. Now, where I come from, we call that sexual abuse. You can pretty it up all you want to, Judge. This is what you said at Mr. Micah's sentencing. These are your words, not mine. What I can say, you said, is that this is a very tragic situation of a person who has a lot of good in him. A lot of good in him. Having done a very reprehensible thing to 2 young children causing extreme damage. Did I read that correctly?
Senator, in that case, I imposed the sentence the state requested.
Did I read that, your quotation, correctly?
Senator, that I think is a portion of what I said at sentencing. My focus was on.
But the words I read, are they correct?
That's what was reported in the paper, Senator. I have not seen a transcript of the sentencing.
I bet the victims remember, Judge. You might have forgotten, just like you forgot his name, but I bet the victims remember. And then you handed down a sentence. You gave Mr. Smith 12 years, but you suspended 6 of them, didn't you?
Senator, that was at the recommendation of the state because
But it was your ruling. Did you? Is that an accurate statement of your ruling?
Senator, I accepted the state's recommendation that 6 years should be suspended so that Mr. Smith would be required to participate in sex offender treatment.
I appreciate the lengthy explanation, but I think it's a pretty simple question. That was your sentence, right?
Yes, I imposed the sentence the state requested in that case.
Still, the headline entered into the record, criticizing light sentences, hung over the room, raising doubts about how justice is really served. Judge Lipez's defense emphasized endorsements from organizations supporting domestic violence survivors, maintaining that her overall record demonstrates impartiality regardless of how a single statement may appear when isolated.
Are you familiar with the Bangor Daily News?
I am the Bangor Daily News, Senator.
Right. Did you read the article they wrote, quote, light sentences send a message that domestic violence does not matter, end quote. You remember that article?
I have read it, Senator. I believe it mischaracterizes a case that is
That
described.
article was about you, wasn't it?
My recollection, Senator, is that it described several different cases. The case that I worked on that was described there, the defendant in that case was acquitted by a jury of the most serious conduct, and that was not reflected in that article. And so
the newspaper got it wrong.
That was an op-ed that I believe misunderstood what happened, which is the jury acquitted the defendant of the most serious conduct that he was charged with. I was not the fact finder in that case, and so at sentencing I was bound by the jury's verdict.
Let me ask you, I'm going to run out of time here. I wish I had more time for you, Miss Campbell, but I've seen a lot of activist judges, and I'm not saying you're the most activist, but the list you're on, it sure doesn't take long to call the roll. Let me finish with this question. I'm going to end as I began, Judge Lipez. You have more sympathy for criminals than victims, don't you?
Senator, I have the support of the Maine Coalition to End Domestic Violence and the Maine Coalition Against Sexual Assault. I believe that support is a reflection of the work I did as a prosecutor, as well as the care I take with cases involving victims as a judge.
You're embarrassed to answer my question, aren't you?
So, what do we make of all this? Should a judge be judged on a handful of tough cases, or on their entire record? And more importantly, is our system truly protecting victims, or just going through the motions? That's the real question this hearing brought to the surface. Let us know what you think. Was this real accountability, or just political theater? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like more breakdowns like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned to Congress Unpacked.